Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. It is a Friday here in the studio as I record, and grateful as always to be with each and every one of you, to get to explore concepts, perspectives, ideas, thought forms, energy, you name it. We do it. We got it. Today I've come across in the last week a few quotes and just thoughts online that really resonated with me that I bookmarked. And so I was looking today, what do I want to talk about? And I was like, oh, that one's good. Oh, that one's good. Oh, that's good. You know what? I'll just kind of share a little bit of each and kind of free form, see where it takes us. The first thing that I want to share with you guys is, it's a big one. I just love the way, this guy, Mike Dooley, puts it in his notes from the universe. He's talking about criticism, from other people, which is one of the hardest things for any of us to swallow, right? How easy is it for us to get defensive when someone starts picking apart anything about our behavior or actions, or something that we put time and energy into, right? I can think of like work projects and someone comes and starts critiquing it or picking it apart. It's like, it's painful. And if we can move through that, taking it personally, right? Like Don Miguel Ruiz, one of his 4 agreements, take nothing personal, right? How can you make it, I like to put it as, if you take everything just as feedback, it's just information coming to you to help you in some way, shape, or form. And sometime that information, that feedback, feels real personal, and it feels real, especially the more personal we make it, the more it stings, right? And I don't know if I would go so far as to say what Don Miguel Ruiz says is take nothing personal. I mean, I get why he's saying it. I think it's sort of these relative truths. From one perspective, absolutely that's true. From another perspective, really everything is personal, right? Because it's always reflecting you back to you in some way, shape, or form. So you could look at it through that lens. And this is sort of the divine dichotomy of existence that we're constantly confronted with, right? You and I are separate. You and I are one. Hold on, which is it? Both. And so it really is it's all about exploring the different vantage points on these ideas, and then, coming up with our own unique sort of blend of, how to interpret it and in the vantage point from which it most suits us to look at it. I think that's why when, my brother or family members or partner, she's, anyone who's been around me a lot ordering at a restaurant, they always like I think of my brother most, because he'll like, oh gosh, here we go. Like, because I'm always like, well, hold on. Can I take this and do this special edition and maybe add this ingredient from that thing? It's like creating my own unique concoction, right? And I think I am prone to do that because it's the same as that's. I mean, that's a different version of taking the best of what's around and combining it into our own our own end result, right? So, is it personal? Is it not personal? I'll let you decide. But at the end of the day, I fully agree with what Mike is saying in this note from the universe. He said, embrace criticism, whether from the wise or from fools. Never have words been uttered that didn't have meaning to those who've heard them, which by no means implies what you heard was true. Maybe you heard these words to test your confidence, to challenge your resolve, or to help you rethink earlier choices. Only you know. I like how he ends that with only you know, right? That's exactly, I'd forgotten. I wrote this down or bookmarked this, days ago. So I didn't remember that piece, but that really is synchronistically ties into what I was just saying. You kind of decide, right? You get to decide how you're going to tune to the information or the thing at hand. And if you are taking criticism real personally and as an attack, and it's an example I've used before. That originally I remember Chris talking about, my friend Chris, who used to come on the show pretty regularly, talking about, I really liked how he put it, is like, if I were to physically attack you, you can tell a story around that, right? Like I've been traumatized and attacked and I'm victimized and, a lot of charged energy around something happening, right? Or I could say, I was walking and it was 73 degrees outside and knuckles from someone's fist struck my face and it stung. And you make it sort of like, impersonal. It's feedback. It's something that happened. The universe, it's pretty trippy if you think about the fact that the universe exploded into existence, and then it's everything that's happened, including this podcast and you listening to it, has been a chain reaction of physical events. Still exploding outward in a way, if you will, right? And so, from that perspective, it's very impersonal, right? It's just like if it's impersonal as if I, drop a ball from the roof and watch what happens and how it bounces on the ground and rolls and, whatever comes from there is just sort of the energetic repercussions of the original drop, right? So there's a time and a place to how do I choose to look at this? How do I choose what story am I going to tell around a particular happening, right? Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about a podcast that is focused on answering the big questions in life called Stories of Impact. Did you know that there are researchers out there working daily to discover scientific evidence about how you can flourish? Join Tavia Gilbert as she shares and connects with compelling stories all about the ongoing scientific exploration of how to live better, and shares key discoveries of research grantees from the Templeton World Charity Foundation. I listened to an episode with Deepak Chopra where he discusses how human flourishing is intimately tied into our ability to tap into the flow state, which really resonates with me. As you know, if you have read my book, I wholeheartedly believe in the importance of focusing our flow. So to continue improving your physical and mental health, tune into new episodes the first and third Tuesday of the month by subscribing and listening wherever you get your podcast. And be sure to check out storiesofimpact.org. Which leads very nicely into the next bookmarked quote from Abraham that I saved, which was this: when you deliberately seek positive aspects of whatever you are giving your attention to, you, in a sense, tune your vibrational tuner to more positive aspects of everything. And of course, you could tune yourself negatively as well. But as you are deliberately looking for positive aspects in yourself or in others, you will find more of those things. The better it gets, the better it gets. For you get more and more of what you are thinking about, whether you want it or not. Right? So good. Did I read this before? Maybe I did, or I just remember reading it. I don't have it notated that I read it on the show, but it kind of feels like it. Maybe it's a deja vu moment. But, the better it gets, the better it gets. So you've all had the experience of buying getting the new car or the new type of shoes or, whatever it is, and then looking, and now all of a sudden you see it everywhere. You're tuned to the vibration of that particular thing. And so you're seeing more of it. You're attracting more of it. It's like when you think of this, it's so wild to think about, that all kinds of things are whizzing and happening. We know this, all around you, there's microwaves and radio waves and all these signals, so much energy, and you're tuning into I forget what it is. There's billions of bits of information around you, and you're tuning into less than 1% or something. So it's and then within that 1%, there's so much variation. So, what are you laser-like focused on? That which is like unto itself is drawn. You will attract and see more. You'll paint the picture of your reality with how you're tuning yourself. And this is the most important job that you have. I always say, we all have the same job, managing our vibration. This is another version of that, tuning ourselves. This is how we start to really shift a world. I can be sitting right next to someone on a park bench, and they're seeing a world of pain and suffering and awful, whatever it is they might be perceiving in that moment. And there may be some even example of that right there. There could be death and decay on the ground next to us, right? I could be looking to the left of that and see a flower blooming in its essence and its most, expanded, vibrant, magical moment of its perfect bloom. And it's what are we focusing on in that environment? And so, here's just to sort of tie these bookmarked quotes together. Here's another one. And this one, I saved it, but it doesn't say who originally wrote this, but it's great. And it's this: you're designed to be a natural doer and a creative force, to be magnetic and let things come to you, to trust your gut in the moment, to feel satisfied when you are aligned, to find wholeness through connection with others, to be an influential role model and a powerful relationship builder, to be a storyteller and an endless well of ideas, to be a gifted listener and draw people's stories out of them, to bring transformation and newness into the world, to receive inspiration from the people in the world around you, to uplift and empower others with your perspective, to have a strong, powerful voice, to feel authentically expressed in your work and life, to feel as though you have nothing to prove, to be an empath, sensitive to the feelings of others, to prioritize your excitement and joy, to be flexible and open to change, and to remain calm even in the midst of chaos. Woo! Now that's a good way to tune yourself. Are you telling, these stories to yourself? Are you tuning yourself in this way? Are you expecting and play that back, listen to it again. As Dr. Joe Dispenza says, neurons that fire together, wire together. You're literally creating neural pathways in your brain with this. I'm designed to be a natural doer, a creative force, to trust my gut, wholeness through connection, be a storyteller, sharing, uplifting, empowering others. You're telling and just literally carving neural pathways in your brain, which then cause you to see evidence of those truths. This is a malleable reality. That's all it comes down to. It is, you are in a dream. You're God-godding, dreaming itself, right? And it's populating as you go. When you turn your head to the left or right, things are snapping into place, which, for those of you who've been listening for a while, you've certainly heard me talk about the double slit experiment. It's such a wild thing. If you've never heard about this, it's they take light particles and shoot them through a slit. And when humans are observing, they create a certain pattern on the back. They shoot them like a cannon, but little, light particles, and then they create a pattern on the back wall that they went through the slit. But when humans aren't observing, they're in a state of superposition. They create a scattered pattern. So what we've seen with that is light, which makes up everything, when consciousness is focused on it, it snaps into one position. When it is not being observed, it's in a state of probability, quantum superposition, right? And it snaps into the position that it snaps into, the physicality, quote unquote, of your life based off of how you're tuning yourself, right? Your consciousness is the thing that's deciding how things look, appear, and show up. There is no out there. And what a powerful truth to realize and to tap into and to start using to your advantage instead of being, unconsciously subjected to your own, you've been programmed a certain way, you're thinking a certain way, you're creating a certain way, but you're not even aware of the process of how this all works. It's like you're playing the game without understanding the rules. And if you're tuning into this vibrational offering, this podcast, you definitely are there and ready to know this, or you wouldn't be a vibrational match. You couldn't find it. You wouldn't be listening. You wouldn't hear it. So congratulations. You are doing it. I am proud of you. I am proud of us. And that's what I got for you today. Take a listen as we go on with our co-creations to this new track by my dear friend Ronit, who was actually on the show a while back. It's called Sixth Sense, and if you want to check out more of her music, it's spelled Roniit. Hope you enjoy. Till next time, journey well.
I've been fading even further than I want to. In the